Hello everyone. I Uma Sharma, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the small scale industry. In the previous lectures of the same course, we have discussed about the entrepreneurship, and we have seen the different characteristic of entrepreneur. Also, we have seen the role of entrepreneurship in the development of the country. So now let's start the lecture. These are the content of the lecture: introduction to SSI, classification of SSI, objective of SSI, that means small scale industry. So the question is that what do you understand by the small scale industry? So small scale industry are those industries in which the manufacturing, production and rendering of services are done on a small or the micro scale. I think you have heard about the MSME sector. So this deals with the small scale industries. At present, the small scale industry constitute a very important segment of Indian economy and has emerged as a dynamic and vibrant sector of the economy. Because small scale industry holds the key to economy prosperity of the Indian economy and characterized by a abundance of labor supply, because in India the labor supply is available. Definitely unemployment is very high in India, or underemployment is also a problem with India or even developing or underdeveloped countries. Scarcity of the finance, growing modern large industries providing scope for the development of ancillary industry and so on. These are the some key factors which promote the growth of small scale industry. So small scale industry has grown extremely good during the last 6 decades and has acquired a very prominent place in the socio-economic development in the country. Basically, this sector accounts for about 40% of the country's total export. So now you can imagine 40% of the total export is from the small scale industry. Various policy, there's a reason behind that. The various policy initiatives taken by the government, central government or state government, by way of incentive or protection, or they help the sector in acquiring the status of a major contributor in the growth of small scale industry. Basically, it comes since 1991 when the process of liberalization and the economic reform started. So, due to this, there is a tremendous opportunity for the growth of small scale industry sector. And definitely another reason according to me is the unemployment of the country. This is the major reason. So this changed industrial scenario has called the building competition in strength, providing improving quality and the productivity. So basically when this scenario change, so now there is a healthy competition between different industrialists. So they are promoting or they are enhancing the their small scale industries. Another point is that now everyone want to be technology upgradation. Everyone want to reduce the wastage and rejection. They want to use the resources intelligently, employing the modern management technique, etc., in order to withstand with the growing competition. I can say it is a healthy competition for ensuring the sustained growth. So these are the key factors which are responsible for the growth of small scale industry in the developing country. Also, the small scale industries need to reposition itself in order to meet the growing demand of ancillary items, which are a requirement of the large industries, or I can say the primary industries. So the emerging challenges to the small scale industry sector are also due to the impact of globalization, agreement under the WTO, World Trade Organization, and the GATT, which is General Agreement on the Trade and Traffic, to which India is the signatory along with the 130 member countries. So these are some factors, these are some parameters which are responsible for the tremendous growth of the small scale industry. Now come to the concept or the classification of small scale industry. So earlier the concept of industry has been now changed to enterprise. Now, so we will use this word enterprise, although in the previous lecture we have seen what is the difference between entrepreneur, enterprise and entrepreneurship. So basically entrepreneur is a actor and entrepreneurship is a act, and enterprise is basically an object or produce which is the outcome of that act, right? So enterprises have been classified broadly into the two categories as mentioned. First one is the manufacturing industry or manufacturing enterprises, which are engaged in the manufacture or production of the goods pertaining to any industry are referred to the manufacturing enterprises. That means the outcome of the manufacturing enterprise are the goods which may be related to electronics, mechanical, which may be related to food or anything. So outcome is in the form of some manufacturing or production. The second category is the service enterprise. So first one is the manufacturing enterprise, second one is the service enterprise. So service enterprises are those which are engaged in providing or rendering of the services, like the services provided by the companies to buy some product, to sell some product, like online platforms, to hire a cab, to order a food. So there are so many service providers. So these are the broad classification, but the manufacturing enterprises again are classified into three categories based on the investment on the plant or machinery, because when we are talking about manufacturing enterprise, that means it deals with some machinery because there is a process of production. So on the basis of money involved, the manufacturing enterprises is classified into three categories. First one is the micro enterprises. So a micro enterprise is that where the investment on the plant and machinery is up to the 25 lakh only, right? So on the basis of price we have categorized. Then comes to the small enterprises. These are the enterprises where the plant and machinery is above 25 lakhs and up to the 5 crore. So 25 lakhs to 5 crore comes in the category of small enterprises, whereas when the cost increases after 5 crore and it is up to 10 crore, then it comes in the category of medium enterprises. So there are enterprises which are micro, then small, then medium. Again, the service enterprises we can classify into three categories on the basis of investment only. So here we have classified into three parts: micro, small and medium. And in case of service enterprises, the micro enterprises are those where the investment is up to the 10 lakhs. And whereas small enterprises in the field of service sector are those where the investment is above 10 lakhs and under 2 crores. Whereas in case of manufacturing, it is 5 crore. So there is a difference between the money involved or between the investments. In case of service sector, the medium enterprises are those where the investment in the equipments is above 2 crore and up to 5 crore. So based on the investment, we can categorize the small scale industry. And another is the ancillary industries, which are basically designed or set up to provide help to the large scale industries in term of production of some parts, component, some assemblies, tools, etc. So these are the sister companies to a large scale industries. An industrial undertaking which is engaged or is proposed to be engaged in the manufacture or production of the part, components, subassemblies, tooling or intermediaries, or the rendering of services. That means it can deal with anything. And undertaking supplies or it render or proposes to supply or render not less than 50% of its production or service. So ancillaries industries basically are the part of a small part of a large scale industry, but it comes in the category of small scale industry. So till now we have seen the classification and all the definition of micro, small and medium enterprises are classified only on the basis of criteria of investment. There are some few factors on which again you can classify the industries, like investment made on the land and buildings. Here we have talked about the total investment on the machinery or the service. So here you can calculate the investment made on the land and buildings, extent of land, build up area of the building, number of people employed. On the basis of that, we can also categorize the small scale industry. Amount of electric power used, amount of utilities like water, gases, fuels, etc. Working capital employed, annual sales and turnover. On the basis of that also, we can categorize the small scale industries. So now we have studies about the small scale industry and their categories or classifications. Now let's see what are the objectives of developing these small enterprises. The first reason is to generate the large scale employment opportunity for the unemployed persons which are available in the developing and the underdeveloped countries. So this is the main problem, main issue, and a small scale industry actually can provide employment at the large level. So this is the first reason. Then second reason, to eradicate second region is to eradicate unemployment problem from the country, because the small scale industry can provide a number of jobs. Next one is to encourage dispersal of the enterprises to all over the country, covering the rural area, smaller town and economically backward regions. Basically, the large scale industry focus the urban areas, but when we talk about the small scale industry, so they generally covers rural areas. So they can be the reason for growth of the rural area as well as the smaller town or economically backward regions. Next reason can be to bring backward region to in the mainstream of the national development. This is the main reason, or I can say objective. Next, to promote the balanced regional development in the whole country, which is very much required to ensure the more equitable distribution of the national wealth and income. Because if we talk about large scale industry, then the national wealth and income is utilized for the development of the urban area only. So with the help of small scale industry, this distribution can be equal across the country. To encourage effective mobilization of untapped resources of the country, because when we talk about a rural industry which comes in the category of small scale industry, that means we can use the resource of that particular region. For example, if in a rural area there is a availability of raw material like sugar cane is available, so we can start a setup which is basically based on the sugar cane, where the raw material is sugar cane. So that means you can use this raw material to use the resource of this particular region to develop the that particular region. So that means we can mobilize the untapped resource. Similarly, to improve the socio-economic condition, and definitely we can increase the standard of living of the people in the country. Definitely, to create the opportunity for small scale enterprises due to the liberalization and the globalization policy of the India. So this is the objective, because government is having many policies related to small scale industry. So this is the objective, to use these resources, these policies to increase the economy of the India. Next, to help and earn the vital foreign exchange for the country through the export of goods service of small enterprises. That means we can increase the revenue of the central and the state government by way of the taxes. So these are the objectives to set up a small scale industry, and definitely they will help to help in the growth of developing country like India. So for this lecture, this is all about from my side. Next lecture onwards, we will see what are the roles of small scale industry for the development of the rural areas, what are the characteristics of the small scale industry in detail. So thank you so much.